Welcome back. As I mentioned in my last video, near the end, I suggested that we would have a look at the force dispositions and see what's up and how things move onto the map and where everybody starts in the Gettysburg campaign. So let's take a look. Let me go back to the setup page here so I can snap off some numbers if we need it. Forces on a with a black flag are Union forces that start the scenario. Can I just move that a little bit? Scenario in their locations. There's one force behind us here that you can't see. I'm going to move the camera and we'll have a quick look. All the way up here. It's quite small. There's actually there's a couple of locations up here, but I've consolidated it into one flag, right? Because we don't need a bunch of nonsense floating around. Now, the interesting thing here is, whoops, he said, adjusting his camera. So, as I mentioned, these are quite small forces, and I can show you or share them with you. So, I think, where is Ellicott Mills? Oh, and there is one other force over here too, right there. And that force has 5 steps or 5 manpower points. I'm just trying to get this camera stabilized here. There we go. Different locations on the map. Maybe I'm sitting on something. Anyway, 5 manpower points. Here we have a ragtag bunch of stuff. 7 approximately here. And then over at the Naval Battery, down here there's 5. And the Boulevard Heights have 4. And then there's some other little bits and pieces sort of floating around. 4603 on the north. That's all up on the north, which is what I showed you previously. The bulk of the forces, the Potomac Army, arrive randomly based on a die roll, and there's a substantial amount of forces. So we've got 1 corps, 3 corps, 11 corps, with 19, 22, and 16 manpower points in total for each one respectively, and 6 cav with 11 corps. Let's see what else is there that I can share with you here. Now, of course, this is the 2 Confederate forces, which I think I've got a piece of paper here somewhere. There's about a 30-point differential in the armed forces. So it's kind of incumbent upon the Confederates to move quickly, capture things, leave the minimum garrisoning forces required to keep the movement points locked down for themselves, and victory points locked down. So wherever they're going, right, they need to get there fast and then leave the 1, 2, or 3 manpower points that are required. And do bare minimums. Now the problem with that is, for instance, this would be a nice location to capture. You know, that you get victory points for destroying this a railroad junction, and you gain victory points here as well. So manning it with more would be good, right? But looking at this map, and this is where I'll probably upset a bunch of people, I don't know. Gettysburg is all the way, where is it? Off screen. Right here. And I get that it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 road junction. Very important from that perspective. Road to Baltimore, etc. And Washington and all the rest of it. But, and big but, the VP allocations, let me just roll over here. If you remember from the last video, if the Confederates focus in on this area here, capturing the Baltimore County, Frederick East, Carroll, and I think probably have to do Howard up here as well. Where did Howard go? I lost it. Oh, here it is down here. So down south as well. Howard here. And of course, the capital towns, right, which are also railroad locations that allow us to pick up even more VPs. They don't need to go to Gettysburg, and there are no substantial forces that I've seen on the reinforcement list that come from further north up in the Cumberland area, or any of that sort of stuff, or York. So they could, arguably, if they wanted, the Confederates, we could bring this force. So where are we? Let's move over a little bit so you can see. We can bring this force in here through this town, Hagerstown. It's not Hagerstown. You know what? Now I gotta see. It is Hagerstown. I've actually been there. That's an interesting little town, a little bit run down, but okay. So Hagerstown, through here. If we can get through the mountains, we've got to get through the mountains. So here's the ideal way to go, right? Up here. You bugger. I'm always off camera for you. Sorry. So up this way, through these mountains on this main road, and then south. Now this is where I guess the challenge comes, right? Getting south down to here. Whoa, the wind has taken me out. Let me close the door. Not a big deal, they're just representative so that we can have a visual cue. But if we can get down south to Frederick, hole up here, in this zone here, we can impose our will a little bit upon the Army of the Potomac entering the map between these two hexes, while we send the second force potentially. Well, here's even a faster route, right? Send second force through Frederick on to Howard and Frederick East, Carroll, and Baltimore, and attempt to control, capture those areas. I'm curious to see those that have played this scenario out. Is that what typically happens? Where do you go when you're trying to, as a Confederate, when you're trying to play this scenario? What's your focal point? As the Union player with the Potomac Army, are you looking to move into Frederick and hold it? Are you looking to penetrate as deeply as you can here and block off here at Westminster and probably down here somewhere and block these two avenues of approach off with the two other armies increments as they come on board? How are you handling both sides, and what are you doing? I'd be super curious to hear from folks. I think it's a fascinating campaign to explore, quite a bit of maneuver by the looks of it. And both armies are on the move, so we're going to have some sort of some form of meeting engagement. I look forward to hearing from everybody on your experiences with the great campaigns of the American Civil War in this Gettysburg campaign. All the best.